podcast, everyone. You are here with the boys of Poi and Soy, and we have Jalen's dancing never ceases to amaze me.
Got him with that Ray Charles, know what I'm saying?
If you're watching it, you'll understand.
We're going to play out.
But yes, thank you guys for joining us on this post-credit segment on our podcast. With me, as always, are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Keone McKee, Jalen Holston, Jared Shirai. Say what is up to the crowd.
Sappy fuckers.
Sup?
Hola and bonjour.
We're just letting the music play.
Yeah, we're going to music all the whole.
I was like,
Delicious.
It's just a little slight
It's a vibe.
background.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds nice in the background. I'm like,
It actually does. It sounds like a good vibe.
no, actually, I only ever play the first like 20 seconds of it. It's actually like a 3 or 4 minute song.
That makes more sense. I kind of want like those YouTube videos where it's like music to study with some nice beats. It's just like an instrumental for like 2 hours at a time.
Exactly.
You're just hearing it, you're vibing with it, and you're listening to us at the same time.
Coming at you from the KK5 radio.
I thought you were gonna say something else right there.
I was like, damn.
Dangerously close to a very different
We
club.
would have been canceled.
Jesus.
Hey guys, come on. We cannot. We cannot.
Bro, I was like, where are you going
It's
with
like, hold on, wait a second.
Wait. One
Wait a
letter
second.
changes everything in this world.
Wow.
No.
Anyway.
KK5 radio station.
There's a ton of letters I could have thrown together.
Yeah, I know. You went, that was
The
worst.
BG7 radio station.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's much better.
But yes, today's post-credit segment, we're going to go through a lot of kind of news around or not so much news, but some topic points going around the movie entertainment sphere. Kind of wanted to start off straight up with the comments that James Cameron had regarding the success of Avatar 2. And I know Keone sent us the post, and we kind of did a light little discussion regarding it. But pretty much he was quoted as saying, we're saying as a society, we need this. We need to go to the theaters. Enough with streaming already. I'm tired of sitting on my ass. Now, is he merited in saying what he is saying? I would say yes. But in James Cameron fashion, it's coming off kind of snobby. I'll throw it over to you first, Keone, because I know you sent us the post. What were your thoughts regarding the comments?
I mean, he's definitely snobby about it. I mean, if you watch even his interviews about what happened with Avatar 2 and like some of kind of the controversy surrounding it. I mean, not to go super deep into that, but obviously like there was a lot of, if you've seen the movie, there are a lot of Polynesian like cultural ties in the movie. And he kind of skated around questions around it, but it sounded very like, I don't know how to say this without saying it, but it's like very appropriation-esque talk when he talked about it.
Gotcha.
So even with this, I think it's kind of like he doesn't really care. You know what I mean? Like he has that attitude where he's very like, I'm gonna say what's on my mind regardless of like what happens with it or whatever. But at the same time, I do think that he has a point. I mean, I think that people are tired of just having streaming service after streaming service after streaming service. I don't know about you. Mm-hmm. I'm at that point where I'm like, it's hard to decide which ones to even subscribe to because you want to see all of it. And yet at the same time, you have to really go out of your way to decide which one is worth spending like $7 a month on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we have other means of watching it sometimes. But you know, in general, it's for the general public. I think everybody's kind of tired of only having these experiences at home. And I mean, me personally, I'm a theater guy. If a big time movie comes out, I don't want to see it in streaming. I enjoy the theater experience. I enjoy the screaming of people. I enjoy the camaraderie of the theater. I enjoy buying my popcorn, even though it costs
absolutely.
$20 for that.
Even though I don't even
bucket.
Necessarily finish it.
Yeah, even
still
though
get
I
that large month.
I literally always get sick after eating all the popcorn. I don't understand.
It's all
why,
the salt
but-
and butter.
Oh my god, I know, but I mean, I just enjoy the experience. Good old salt and butter.
Sodium getting in your veins.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with what he's saying. I do think that people are tired of it, and obviously after the pandemic, we had pretty long stretch where people couldn't do this, so it's something that's even more of a high point right now. So I think he has a point with that. Was he snobby? I agree with that as well. But I mean, he's James Cameron. He says a lot of snobby things, but he's still one of the best out there, doing movies. So.
Jared, I'll throw it over to you. Are you kind of in agreement where? I mean, I think everyone's kind of lifestyle is a little different. There are going to be some who maybe like that sedentary lifestyle, sitting around watching it from home. It's a lot comfortable. Don't have to throw commute into wherever you're going. It doesn't necessarily shell out all this money for a one-time viewing. Are you someone who's on that kind of train where you'd rather kind of, chill at home? Maybe if you have a surround sound system, you're good to go. Or would you rather go out to the theater or go out to some showing?
I mean, if I had the money, of course I'd have that surround sound. You know what it is.
Agreed.
Yeah, we'd have a gaming room with the surround sound going at the same time. You know what it is. But I think. So I like to go to the movies. I do. Emily likes to go. We like to go and see different movies. So it's been good when we have to go to see movies to review a lot of different things because it's probably things that we already wanted to see. On the flip side of it, I get why people are doing it. COVID was a real thing. You got used to being at home. You're sitting next to people who are vaccinated, unvaccinated. There's a whole big thing that you can get into in that aspect of it. So I can see why people are a little more weary. You are in an enclosed space. Most people are not wearing masks. It depends on what kind of person you are and what you want to deal with. If you trust that people are vaccinated or you don't care, or if you're going to wear a mask. I mean, the experience, but if we're talking about experience, I'd rather be in a movie theater. This round sound, the crowd reactions, like Coyote said, always gets you hyped. When you're at home, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like being at home as well too, because comfort of my own home. I don't have to pay $20 for popcorn. I can make my own, bring my own kakimochi. I can make my own. Hurricane.
I always bring my own kakimochi.
Well, I've got to really lazy with like buying popcorn there. I normally just get the nachos. I just get a pack of nachos and I just get a soda, and that's literally lasts me through the whole movie. And that's normally what I do. But yeah, if we're home, it's I don't mind streaming it. The only thing that sucks is, like you said, like there's a lot of different streaming services, and I know Keone, we had this conversation. I was like, to what services you want to keep because we don't even use it and this and that. And I'm kind of in that boat now because like I have Hulu because of the Disney Plus package, and I have Netflix, I have like Amazon Prime. Like, do
because
I really
we
need
have
Amazon
Prime?
Prime? Yeah, it's like and all these things. Like, do I really need it? And like, where can I cut costs? Just make everything work. But yeah, in the long run, I mean, I think it's really more user's preference. But for me, I'd rather be in a theater. If I'm watching a big movie, something like Avatar, where the graphics and the sound is going to be key to what you're watching, like I want to be in a theater when I see it, not just like the comfort of my own home just because I can. So
yeah.
Can I also add that there was like a peak time of like right after everything was opening up. And right before everybody was like, F it, let's just take away all the restrictions, where like you would pick your seats, and then it would block out the seats around you. That was like,
that
was like a
great
moment.
Time.
Oh yeah, because you know for sure there's not going to be that one sweaty guy that has no sense of personal space next to you, but
just breathing hard the whole movie too.
Can I just? I had that guy during Batman, and
I was gonna say it's also kind of interesting when you get to the theater and like you're trying to figure out, even if like you're in a group of two or more, sometimes if it's just yourself and they do end up having the seat next to you, you're like, is this your cup holder? Is this my? Do I check on this side or that side did it? Oh, never mind. I gotta take this side. But I'll kind of toss it over to you, Jalen. Obviously, he's been very outspoken regarding his comments to genre films like comic book movies. Do you think, kind of how Keone mentioned it does kind of come off snobbish, or do you think he's just telling it how it is rather than thinking of he's trying to kind of hit a nerve with some people or some groups or communities?
Nah, James Cameron is just an asshole. Like, that's just how it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I mean, his movie made $2 billion basically, if you round it up. So
I think it's just about.
It'll be there by the end of the month, I assume. Gross. So he can earn it, but I don't necessarily agree. I think there's a world where both are true. I think there should be a world where you can have the not day and day release, but also probably like a day and a week release, I think is probably the move. And we're obviously seeing Netflix starting to dabble into putting things in the theaters. So I think, there's some truth to his statements, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he's just a snob and wants things to be traditional. I'm a theater guy for sure. Like, I get really excited. But also I'm a big
movie day
time into the streaming stuff. Like, I love my Netflix, I love my Disney Plus shows, I love my Hulu stuff, I love my Amazon Prime. So really, it's like, I think we are in a place where these bigger movies can have a place to go back to in the theater. But I also really strongly feel that if you're like myself, it's more of understanding, like, which movie am I actually willing to go spend the money for?
Yeah,
like, Avatar 2, like, I still haven't seen it. I'm going to wait. Like, I'm sorry. There's nothing about Avatar 2 that's going to get me to go to the theater, because
I'm actually going today.
Take. Really?
Around
Congratulations.
6:30, I was like, let's do it. I got tomorrow off for MLK Day.
True.
Let's do it.
Unfortunately, I've had to watch it twice in the theaters.
Well, from where I'm sitting, like, hot take, the only thing that really made Avatar 1 amazing was the 3D technology stuff, because the movie was pretty mid overall. Like, I'm going to be real honest about it.
Oh, the first one.
Yeah, the first one was literally a mid movie, but because
Dances
the 3D
with
stuff was all... Right, it was literally just that with space and aliens. Which is cool. Do it, great. But like, the thing that made it cool was because that started the whole 3D movie and like the real 3D thing. Like, that's where all that happened. That's why that movie made billions of dollars. So from where I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, you made a sequel to that, to a mid movie where the storyline wasn't really, like, it was intriguing, but it wasn't like gripping by any means. So there's no reason for me to go see that movie. Now, Ant-Man Quantamania, on the other hand, big circle on the calendar, because that's one that I am heavily invested in. I've been going to all the MCU movies.
New trailer that came out too.
Absolutely, we freaking will. And also, that's leading into Kang Dynasty stuff for, like, you know what I mean? So that's one that I have circled that 100% I have to go see in the theater. But like, Avatar, I'll wait till it streams on Disney Plus. I think there's a world where both can be true, but no, yeah. TLDR, James Cameron is just an asshole. Something about these guys named James, you know what I mean? It's weird. Put them all in a room together.
Before we get to that,
It's funny that you said that, because I was literally typing in the title on this, and I was like, James, not Gun, Cameron.
God. And this will be kind of my little follow up. It'll be kind of an open house. As Jalen mentioned, his movie just pretty much hit $2 billion. And it is rumored or projected to beat Spider-Man No Way Home within the coming days. I'm going to list off the top 7 movies of worldwide box office in total. Top movies are Avatar, Avengers Endgame, Titanic, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man No Way Home, and now Avatar 2 The Way of Water. My question, and we can all kind of go different route. I have a specific idea of how I'd kind of voice this. Is James Cameron the GOAT at making movies that are blockbusters? Because he currently has 3 movies in the top 7 of all time, and it's creeping up to making it 3 in the top 5 of all time. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. Is James Cameron box office Viagra?
I think a similar argument could be made are the Russo brothers also in that category.
I would agree with that.
You said Endgame and Infinity War in the top 10.
But the thing with James Cameron is he's the one crafting and kind of maneuvering these IPs, as opposed to the Russo brothers, who I have nothing against them. They are kind of being handed a sandbox that they have to play in. James Cameron is like, this is my playground. It's going to be what I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Valid. But we saw how bad a sandbox can get messed up.
Absolutely.
Joss
No.
Whedon,
There's
you know what I mean?
no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
No, I mean, like, I just don't like gloating about James Cameron because he is such a, like, colossal dick, to be honest with you. I think if he was more of a realist about how he gets his movies made, and, like, you read some of the reports about how things are on set with him, how, like, dictatory he is, and all these kinds of things, like, I would feel probably more apt to give him more praise if he just wasn't this colossal, like, demon, you know what I mean? But I mean, kudos, obviously he gets results, but I don't know. I don't know about GOAT status quite yet, because again, there will be a movie that gets past Avatar 1. There will be a movie that gets past this Avatar 2. Like, will probably put money down it's going to be one of the new Avengers that comes out because they're more
Really?
globally
Okay.
marketable.
That's a hot take.
Does it take into account
inflation?
Yeah, that's what
I feel like Avatar 1 surely got beat by something if we adjust.
Yeah, like I feel like if it were ticket prices were the same, I feel like it would change the amount.
I mean that could be. I don't know if it specifically the box office I looked up. I don't know if that's taken into account, but at the same time, Titanic was a movie that came out at what 99 or something like that, and it's top 3.
It is.
So I mean
that's a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. So
I mean. It's definitely he definitely has an argument. I mean, James freaking Cameron, he's pretty good at these films that he makes.
Yeah.
And you're right. At that point, I thought that was a very valid point that he's definitely not. He's creating full worlds when he's doing these things. I mean, outside of Titanic. Titanic. Was
I mean, that's his own story plot.
Yeah. I got you. Man. I mean, I would have to see what the results are after the inflation conversation because that honestly does change a lot. Because I mean, you could say he made a lot of money, but if the ticket prices are literally like triple what they were 20 years ago, I mean, it's a whole nother argument we're having. But he's up there. I mean, I can't argue that. That's for sure. I do think there are, definitely directors who have better movies that probably would have made more money.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say he's the Oscar award winning, but he is.
I got you. I got what you're saying. He definitely has an argument for it. I'm not going to argue against it because the results are there, but if inflation is definitely going to be
would you
a
say
conversation
he's
to be had.
The LeBron of filmmakers? As
I was going to play
the
devil's
GOAT.
advocate to your point about because I thought it was interesting. We're trying to give James Cameron more credit for GOAT status because he's created these worlds, as opposed to just looking at it as a pure director basis, like he was on the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like devil's advocate, like why are we not having that same conversation about the Russo brothers? I mean, we're talking about 3 out of 5. They have 2 out of 5, almost. I mean,
but it's because you look
4,
at the Russo brothers'
still.
also line of work outside of the MCU. None of their movies have necessarily been critically reviewed well, nor have they been box office successes.
But that's not.
Recent
I mean,
years
that means they
especially.
like to work more. You know what I mean? Just because you do like 3 bangers over the span of 50 years, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit the
Like,
Russo brothers, but at the same time, I'll just try to match it up a little as where we can.
Well, yeah. But that's just where I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
James Cameron
absolutely,
is
for
more
the sake of
like
it,
the.
but
It's like the Kevin Durant of
The top 3 of all. Jared, did you have any thoughts regarding how you kind of view this, especially numbers wise, or if you're looking at it from a different standpoint?
No, I'm kind of in agreement with you guys. Inflation always matters, but at the same time, very okay over there.
I was gonna say you're agreeing
I
with
truly
you
be
guys.
hitting though.
There's
Which
there's
guys,
different opinions here. There's different opinions.
No,
Can't agree with
like-
everybody.
Well, definitely not Nolan. I mean, when do I ever agree with Nolan? Am I wrong, Nolan? I mean, no, I'm just kidding. No, but
If I remember correctly, when we had this conversation about the Dynasty Warriors, you agreed with me, Jared. Suck it. Anyways, this is a post-credit segment. Continue, Jared.
No, I did agree.
He did agree with that wrong take.
I did agree with you on the wrong take. No, but inflation always makes it. I think it's
White Claw.
White Claw.
Sponsor us.
Yeah. But for
But
real,
really, though, dude, could you imagine?
We'll just be drunk all the time. Thanks,
Hey.
sponsor.
He's like, I just read the card. It said drink 1 per show.
one case per show.
One.
No, but inflation always matters. But at the same time, like if you put anything in the top, you're going to that point where it's like it's probably gonna be the top 3 of 5 all time. There's no reason why he can't be mentioned in that same breath of being the GOAT. But I don't know. I am more in agreement, I guess, with you when it comes to like with the Russo brothers and everything. But I don't like defy the fact that the Russo brothers always whatever they get in as far as like what they've been known for they put out bangers in that aspect, and that's why they're also
absolutely.
up there with two of the top 5 basically. Until James Cameron probably takes over one of those spots as a third.
Coming in hot.
Because he is coming in hot. I mean, so
imagine though, like by the end of like his whole slate of Avatar movies, Avatar 1 is the one number 1, Avatar 2 is the number 2, Avatar 3 is the number 3.
Way.
And then you have Titanic.
He's like, I want the royal flush.
I mean, even with the second one, see, this is why I was kind of debating it back and forth. Is because like even with the second one, it almost felt like because of the amount of hype building up to it, because it's been like 12 years and the first one did so well and so many people enjoyed that first movie. It's like, obviously people were going to go to the theater because it's just one of those things where you wait that long. You're like, I got to see what the second one's about. Like even myself, like I didn't think I was going to see it. And then really as like the week built up and I was kind of watching it over and over again, I was like, damn it, I gotta go check it out. Like, I gotta go see what it's like in the theater. And then, like, I mean, I don't regret watching it. So, I mean...
Any recommendations for when I see it, when a good time to pee would be?
Oof. It's funny because my dad asked the same question while we were watching.
Didn't Andy Dalton's brother make an app for that? I thought
there is an app. I just forgot the name, so I never looked it up.
Yep.
When to pee.
When to pee.
When to pee.
Okay.
Go Shishi.
Trying to not spoil
here it is.
The movie.
So, adjusted for inflation, the top 10 movies. So we
there
got
there gotta be a list, right?
Yeah, Gone with the Wind is numero uno. And then we got Avatar and Titanic, Star Wars: A New Hope, and then Endgame round out the top 5.
See, that makes sense. That's a list that makes sense.
Sound of Music is 6. E.T. is 7.
Damn, they're coming out with these hardcore ones.
The 10 Commandments would be 8. Doctor Zhivago is number 9. And then Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, rounds out the top 10. So, like, if we want to talk about goats, I mean, yeah, he's 2. I mean, all time, he does have 2 in the top 5. So, I mean, yeah, there's a discussion to be made, but Avatar 2 is not even in the realm. Neither is Spider-Man No Way Home and anything like that, so...
Wow, that list makes a ton of sense. Outside of maybe 10
crazy.
Commandments.
A lot of old school ones really hit
there. Yeah, I was like,
The 10 Commandments was a slapper, bro. I'm just saying. It came out in 1956, so you gotta think of time it came out and when it came, like, you know what I mean? Culturally.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was like, the time makes sense, but wow, that's an interesting one to be in there, but
yeah,
this is a conversation to be had, man.
We can definitely do that for another post credit because I think there's definitely some thoughts that are already like flying through my head, but we don't have too much time for this week's segment.
No, let's just keep going. No, I'm just joking.
Right, let's fight.
Yeah. Wait, what time's your movie? We got plenty of time, right?
No, I'm not risking it. So yeah, I mean, other than that, any other kind of thoughts before we move on?
Oh, for your question, when they're training. That's all I'm going to leave that without spoiling it.
Got it. Bingo bongo.
Gotcha.
So the next thing we're going to kind of hop into, because we know it's a great follow-up for James Cameron because he loves MCU movies. The Ant-Man 2 trailer that came out during the college football championships.
Woo!
Not the game, because obviously that was something that was hard to watch.
It was such a great game.
This is a heartbreaker.
Unless you're a Georgia fan. Congrats to you.
I couldn't believe that they won.
Why can't the Big 12 ever show up when it matters?
But yes,
here, man.
that game was impeccable.
It's awful.
I think they were supposed to release it during the halftime, but because the game looked like it was going to lose its viewers pretty quickly, they pushed it to like the end of the third quarter.
Well,
right.
Gotta say,
that makes a little more sense.
I gotta say this. I mean, before we move topics, Jared, I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy that TCU did so horrible because it wiped the taste of the whole A battle out of my mouth a little bit because. At least we didn't lose as bad as TCU did. Good Lord.
Holy shit.
I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Way worse.
It wasn't in front of everyone.
Dude, I forgot about the game, and so I was checking ESPN because I had to play that night, and I checked ESPN, and I was like, "Oh, the game was on tonight." And I went straight to the scores, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yep. Good thing you forgot about it.
Yeah, for real though.
As I'm sure every TCU fan is thinking.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any TCU Marvel fans, I'm sure they were very happy to see the trailer at the end of the third quarter for Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantamania.
Technically, it's Ant-Man 3.
Good segue. Good segue.
Great segue.
3, sorry, Ant-Man
Yeah.
3. I was in my head.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantamania.
Ant-Man and the Wasp
come on,
Quantamania. This one definitely gave a lot more of a look at Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror character. A lot more lines for him to show, a little more ferocity and anger and just straight up badassness. I'm gonna throw it over to you first, Jalen, because I can tell you're hyped. Let us know what you thought about the trailer. Was there any like fun Easter eggs you saw in the trailer that might be an indicator of what might be in the movie or what's to come in the future?
MODOK is in there. I did see
yeah.
a glimpse of that guy, which is freaking sick. Because again, it's like this galactic area that we're swerving into is very much on that route of Galactus, the big Chungus guy that we've seen fight the Fantastic Four a billion times. Obviously, we know the Fantastic Four is coming, which means we could also get the Silver Surfer, hopefully done better than that god-awful rendition in early 2004 with Jessica Alba and the rest of that crew, and also Chris Evans. But then, it's all good. You take your L's and then you turn it around. Hey, look what happens.
Grow a beard and you're
You're
right.
America's sexiest man alive.
Exactly. But yeah, so I'm hoping that we get some more of those little nuggets and mentions in there. Again, this movie feels like there's leading into something. Like these last few movies, I think our complaints have always, these conversations always go back to like it's not connected. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But we know we have Kang Dynasty coming. That's part of the first new Avengers movies that are coming out, and then we also have Secret Wars. So it feels like Quantumania is finally going to be that foot in. Like, here's the road. We're going down it. These next movies are going to kind of wiggle in there. So with Loki season 2 coming out as well, I'm a little interested to see what kind of trickles out of this movie into that, because Kang is also there at the end of season 1. In case you haven't seen it, sorry to spoil it, but Jesus, it's been like
how have you not seen it?
I don't know. I don't know if you really wanted to watch.
Don't
it,
even listen to this podcast if you didn't finish that season.
Right.
No, keep listening.
No,
please.
don't listen to it. No, not at all.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But yeah, God bless it. He looks like a fucking Giga Chad in this trailer. Like, I mean, this dude is like, he's out here like doing Dragon Ball moves with the lightning coming out of his hands, and he's like just curb stomping Ant-Man
The
on the
POV
floor.
version of through the helmet, you just see the
Oh
foot
my
coming down. I was
God,
like,
yeah, bro. I was like, yo, this is Kang the Conqueror, bro. This is the
and
dude
shout
that
out to
beat
Samuel L.
Thanos.
Jackson, obviously giving like a little hint to the future in the first Avengers movie. Boot,
Yes.
Ant. Hello.
Exactly.
Boot on Ant-Man.
Full
Perfect. Huh?
circle moment, everyone. Holy cow. I'm also really excited to see Cassie kind of step into that Wasp role, as opposed to I always forget the actress that plays her name, but she was from Lost. Every single time.
Evangeline Lilly.
Evangeline Lilly, excuse me. I do want to see how that kind of trickles out. I kind of have a hot take she dies. Otherwise, why are we keeping two Wasp around? You know what I mean? Make it real impactful for Scott Lang. So one or the other. Either Cassie dies, or she's gonna die. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But if she doesn't, then hey, Young Avengers, here we go. And adds more to the roster. I'm ready to see this movie or show, whatever they want to do. I think, to be honest, I'd rather see a Disney Plus show for the Young Avengers. Now I'm thinking about it.
I think we've mentioned that before. I think we're all in agreement that would be something a little more exciting if they do the writing and the time length of each episode right.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
totally
let the
down for
She-Hulk writers write it. It'd be great.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Dude, that'd be
Actually,
the
Miss
most
Marvel,
crazy
because
series.
that got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Did it?
We're trying to keep it positive here. Just trying to keep things
He was
positive,
spitting
like their
facts.
credit score.
I mean,
He was
that's
spitting
true.
facts.
It was 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No,
But no, I think a
Ridiculous.
show format with all these young actors, like Haley Steinfeld, and now we have the replacement one for Cassie Lang. Which why did they have to recast that? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
The actor's like the same. She's like 20 now, all of a sudden. Anyway, but letting all these young actors have that space in a show format to kind of flex a little bit and really develop that chemistry and get to know these young Avengers characters would be cool. But yeah, big circle on the calendar. Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad Jalen kind of brought it up, because I was going to throw it over to you, Jared, and just say, kind of looking at the trailer, Scott Lang, Paul Rudd's getting his ass beat. And obviously we know that there's some sort of bargain going on between him and Kang. Is there a possibility that this could be Paul Rudd's last movie in the MCU, and maybe they are moving forward with his daughter kind of stepping into the role and having the Wasp be the member of the Avengers, still kind of moving forward until I guess the daughter is old enough to take over the helm. What were your thoughts? Because it does seem like he is in a no-win situation.
I'm kind of with you there. I can kind of see that. Yeah, he did definitely get his ass beat in the trailer. I mean, there's no better way to put it. But, I mean, it's hard to say just because of the way he entered and how he exited as far as, like, the Avengers series went. Like, him coming in kind of on that later side and then him playing a big part into the whole time heist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, how you base it off of Back to the Future and everything. But, like, the fact of how important he was to that, I mean, it's hard for me to see, like, them just getting rid of him like that. I feel like it may come to where he may not die or it's something like that, but he may be one of those mentor roles that we talked about, like, as far as, like, the Hawkeye role. With
like maybe he just gets incapacitated to, like, a certain degree.
Mm-hmm. And he realizes that, hey, maybe it's not for me, but, you know, my daughter wants to do this, so I'm going to be her mentor. And like how Hawkeye was doing with his daughter at the beginning of Endgame, you know, teaching her how to shoot, kind of maybe the same concept of that in a little more mentorship role. Being like, hey, this is where I messed up. Don't be that person, or don't do this, don't do that kind of thing. So, I mean, I can see it's hard to say because Jalen had brought up the whole wasp situation, and then you go with Ant-Man with that as well. And so it's kind of like one of them. It feels like it's going to be one of them is going to have a give and take. You either have one around, or you're going to have another run around. And I mean, I like Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
he's hilarious, like in everything that he's in, and
the man never ages. God damn.
You know, yeah, he
doesn't.
Really doesn't.
I don't understand.
Doesn't.
He's like
he looks like a 30-year-old man for like.
Since he was 17.
For like 30 years.
Stayed there.
For like 30 years.
Insane.
Oh, man.
So moving on to you, Keone. Based off of the trailer, kind of listing things out. Obviously, there's a bargain. They kind of set up that he wants more time with his daughter because he's missed on so much, and he could have helped her not go down a path that she's already been on. Looks like she's kind of had trouble with the law. I think there was like a scene of her coming out of a jail cell. Like I mentioned with Jared, there is the scene where he is kind of having that fight, and it seems to be post-bargain, where maybe the bargain gets broken or something happens, someone breaks their side of the deal, and now they're getting his ass beat. Marvel's not in charge of cutting the trailer together. It's the trailer companies. But did they show too much of Marvel's hand for what the movie is? Did they kind of reveal all this that should have been kind of kept for the movie, or do you think that there's more under the covers that we just haven't been exposed to yet until we see the movie?
I would say it does look like a lot is happening. But when you really break down, like if you went scene by scene and you kind of looked at everything in like a wider spectrum, it could all happen in a short amount of time.
True.
It doesn't
The
necessarily.
movie is also 2 hours and 6 minutes.
And I feel like they do that a lot. You know, we think that it's this whole long movie. But they did it with Endgame. They did it with Infinity War. You watched that. You very much for continuing the trend. But yeah, they've done it before where it looked like it was going to be the entire span of the movie, and you're like, really? Why did they just show all of that? And then that's literally only like the first half hour or the first hour or however it might be. So I don't think Marvel knows what they're doing, man. They know what they're doing when it comes to the movies. Outside of that, I would have to say for the last one, the question you asked Jared, I think this may be Paul Rudd's swan song, man. I mean, this is my hot take a little bit because I do think that it's going to be pretty out there as far as like what will happen in this movie. But I got to say, if there is somebody in the cast of people that they have kind of in the future tense of like Avengers that doesn't necessarily fit the group as it's being currently constructed, I would say that Ant-Man may be that odd guy out that has both the tie of being like the guy that everyone cares about and would be so heartbroken that he dies, and also would be like they could still have the Avengers without having him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Dare you?
Like
How
the
dare
Avenger
you
group.
say that he's expendable?
I don't think I didn't say that.
How dare
I
you?
said I
Yes,
think,
he
You
did.
said
I
it
said
in a
it.
really
Said
cute
it.
bone
I
in a
said
roundabout
it.
way.
I
But you said
said
he was expendable.
I said that I think that he's the guy that he's part of the original group. There's enough emotional tie there where you will feel his death. Because if I feel like if you
That's
kill
fair.
off
The
if you
first
kill off-
movie came out in 2015, so he's been around the block a minute. you
and
know?
I feel like if you kill off a guy like Doctor Strange because of the way the last movie bombed, it's like one of those like a lot of people aren't so attached, or Miss Marvel or not, excuse me, Captain Marvel, because so many people had so many issues with her character in general. It wouldn't have the same impact on the general movie base and the general MCU fan base as much as he would, because he's kind of like the heart, the jokester of this group right now. And if you lose him, it'll hurt. It'll definitely hurt. It'll give the rest of the Avengers a large reason to want to take on Kang. Like if they didn't already have a reason, this is that emotional tie. This is that what is his name from the first Avengers movie? This is that I was going to say Dr. Phil. This is that Agent. This is that Agent Coulson moment. Like this is
To get this new group together.
This
it's
is
gonna be
this to me is
Ant-Man.
that moment right here. Like, and as much as I love his character and as much as I would love to see him continue on, I do think there's a possibility this could be it, because Kang looks like I don't know how he escapes this moment with Kang. Like, how does he get away in this moment? Like, Kang is just ridiculous. I mean, they've already said that he's going to be the strongest, villain that they've had thus far. I don't know, man. And as much as I think that they could kill off Evangeline Lilly's character, I also could see this being like, he dies, she retires because she can't do it anymore without him. The daughter takes the reins of her job, and because she's his daughter, and not only that, but she has a revenge story to tell. And then she kind of takes a step back as like kind of like the motherly / kind of person for her daughter to kind of like work off of. But I don't know, man. If there's somebody that I feel like could bite the dust that would really, really hurt me, it's him. I mean, as much as I
hate that you make sense right now.
I was like, it's just Evangeline Lilly. Like, it wouldn't hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, I love her.
I mean,
as an
the only
actress,
saving
as a
grace
character, but
for why I think maybe Paul Rudd does make it out of it, and I mean, hot take, maybe I think it's Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer's characters that die, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That could be, just so that they have some sort of stake
For sure.
in the movie. I think from a report I said it's Kang is looking to reclaim a power that he lost, and I guess that's why he's striking a deal with Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, which could be maybe how he escapes, because Kang isn't necessarily fully powered, but a guy that grows small and big compared to someone who can shoot like energy beams out of his hands. I don't think. It doesn't seem like.
Sorry, I was going to ask a question to Jay from the Secret Wars storyline. Is it the Atom Man? What is that guy's character's name?
Adam Warlock?
No. This is
Sentry?
like Atom, like Atom. Is what is his name? He's like the main character in what happens with Secret Wars later on.
I'm blanking as well, but I know of what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and you know what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of wondering if they're trying to fit his character into that role, is what I was getting at. Because
I don't think so. That's a
Okay.
bit of a. I mean, Marvel does some deep cuts, but I don't think they would go that sweaty. To be honest, they got to keep it pretty vanilla, but keep the references in there. But I know, that would be cool though. That would be cool.
I mean, because they
try to,
seem to be
adapt Kang's
pushing his
kind of vibe into there.
his the way that Ant-Man is being used to kind of tie the different worlds in, because he's able to kind of maneuver through every one of them. It almost seems like they're using him in that role. But what is his name? I can't think of the damn character's name. It's bothering me so bad.
just Google it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I hate that you're also making sense also with Nolan, because I can definitely see, like, for instance, if that does happen, we get to Avengers Kang Dynasty or whatever, and they have to actually assemble the team. Like, the first person that's going to get a call and have an emotional reaction is our new Captain America, because old old homie lost Tic Tac, and that was the whole.
Oh, you just
whole
made
bit.
it even
You know
worse.
what I mean? Like,
No.
like that's the first guy. To which
Oh my
he's going.
gosh.
Oh, hell no.
You just added a whole nother layer.
Oh
of-
my
Oh
gosh.
man.
And then he would try to go get Clint because Clint was also on that team, and at least that half is
gosh.
going to get assembled, and then they can, go from there with the Wakandans and all that, which would get Bucky involved.
I completely forgot about that. Falcon
Obviously, all that.
reference.
So,
That's
so
gonna- oh my god.
yeah,
You just tied something worse to it. Oh no.
it's your fault. You brought up this
Yeah.
madness. It is literally you brought this curse upon us.
Jalen's just
Yannick.
one-upping you
Yeah,
right
he-
now.
I'm
he
just
added-
thinking
he
logically.
added.
That's all. I'm just thinking
you're
logically.
So right. And the
That
way
is
the
all. I'm
way the
thinking
movies are
logically.
ordered too. Oh no.
Well,
Right.
we're 2 days and 1 month away from the release.
I take back
of
what I said for the
Ant-Man
last
and
10
the Wasp
minutes.
Quantamania. We are hoping for some good things, but at the same time, Marvel needs to have some stakes in their movie, or else it is just going to be pretty vanilla, more vanilla, if anything. But moving on, so we don't go down a dark rabbit hole of things that we may be expecting. The next thing I want to do really quickly, and I know it's because I believe you're the only one who's seen it. Keone, just give us kind of like a 30-minute quick hitter.
You said
saw
30 minutes.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Oh my
Tell me about the whole thing. Tell me about the whole thing in 30 minutes, man.
Good
You know, time flies when you're having fun with the
Jesus.
boys. The boy and sword. Stay tuned for the next 24 hours. We'll do a live stream. 30-second quick
I would
hitter
die.
on Puss in Boots. I forgot the full title. Can you remind me of the full title?
The Last Wish.
The Last Wish. Please let us know how you enjoyed the movie. Was there some things that if you're just a Shrek fan of that kind of whole world in general, is this something that definitely is going to be so fun? So please let us know.
I mean, all of us, well, most of us, grew up in the Shrek era.
There's Keone's first one of the year.
There it is. 3 pods in.
Oh,
Here we are.
I meant Jay because he's so young. No, so good. Okay.
Wow.
All right. It was
Like
Jared.
the same
All
age.
right. Anyway.
But like the same, we're usually like the same age. That doesn't make any sense.
So, I mean, for sure. I mean, we grew up watching. I mean, the first Shrek. I mean, if you didn't enjoy that first movie, fantastic. I don't understand how you didn't enjoy that movie. But the way that they've been able to kind of build around this sort of like crude humor is what I call it when it's more PG, but definitely it's adult humor if you don't. Because you don't get it as a kid, it all goes over your head. So the way that they're able to maneuver crude humor, I think is just fantastic. They do a lot of parody in their movies. DreamWorks, I mean, they have this brand new sort of intro that rivals
I saw that.
the new Disney intro that I think is just so good. It's fantastic. I mean, literally, you look at the amount of movies that DreamWorks has created and the amount of worlds they've created. I mean, it's banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. So, I mean, Madagascar, you got the dragons, you got this whole universe.
Might be the greatest movie trilogy of all time. That's a debate for another day. But just saying. I'm just saying, bro.
I'm riding with you.
I don't know if tears got jerked like that. And then,
I am riding with you 100%.
That's goddamn.
But yeah, I mean, they create fantastic worlds. Somebody needs to be out and make them a park like Disneyland has. Just give them a park. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like they could try to sell some sort of rights to like Universal or something.
that's what I'm saying.
Because I mean, they have the Super Mario World now at Universal, and I don't think Universal has any stake in Nintendo kind of rights.
Not that I'm
property.
aware of. No.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel
I'll have
like
to double
theme
check. I don't
park
know if
wise,
Universal
just
is
like
actually the one
IP.
making the Super Mario movie, so that could also be. A
Oh
time,
yeah,
but,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that.
they just need something. They have fantastic properties. Anyway, as far as this movie is concerned, I mean, it's more or less of the same. But this movie in itself, they changed up the animation style a little bit, which I thought was fantastic. This was different from what you see in Shrek and all that other stuff, because obviously Shrek became a little outdated a little bit, but as the movies progressed, obviously the animation style changed. But this one went in a completely different direction. I really don't know how to describe it, other than it reminded me a little bit of like Actually, no, I can't even say that. I really don't know what it's its own thing. It's a kind of a blend of what Shrek universe movies look like, plus a little bit of what like the Spider-Man Into the Universe
Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, so it blends it perfectly. It looks beautiful. The storyline, the acting by Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek, and then I keep forgetting the name of whoever plays the little dog in the movie, but perfect addition to their kind of tete-a-tete in the movie between the two main actors. And on top of that, it's just a fantastic family film. I mean, they've been coming out with these bangers, and like I gotta say, like they've been on a roll. Disney's been kind of with their releases thus far. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw Strange World. That was one of them.
Nicole and Shell are actually watching it right now in the living room.
I mean, I don't want to speak too much on that because it's a whole nother topic that we could probably save for another day. But this one specifically, I just like that DreamWorks is doing DreamWorks. Like they're not trying to follow any trends. They're not trying to do anything out of the ordinary. They're just creating fantastic worlds, creating fantastic characters, and they're making these fantastic movies. And I got to say this, I mean, it came out in the very beginning of this year, so it definitely has a chance to ride to the end of the year as one of the best animated films of the year. So, I mean, I'm giving it its due. Go
Until
see
Across
it.
the Spider-Verse comes out.
Yeah, if you're trying, yeah, damn right. But for sure, this is going to have a chance up there. Whether Spider-Verse ends up being fantastic as fantastic as the first one or not, this one definitely has that chance. Yeah, you damn right. Or it's better is what you're trying to say. It's like, yeah, but fantastic movie. If you have a chance to see it, we actually streamed it. We didn't go actually watch it in the theater. It was
what'd you stream it on?
Apple TV. We actually had to pay the rental price for it. I know it was cheaper than 2 tickets, so it was just like, we didn't want to go watch this, but we did want to see it. So,
also, really quick before we move on, I wanted to ask because I have not seen the first Puss in Boots in a long time. Mm-hmm. Is it necessary that I should rewatch the first one before watching the second one, or is it kind of like
no,
you just hop right in?
Yeah, you could hop right in. Yeah, I was like, it's
Thank God.
it's its own thing. You could tell. Yeah, I was like, the first. I mean, even the first one got good reviews, but this one, I mean, it blew it out of the water. So definitely, as far as reviews wise, it got fantastic reviews, which is why we went to see it. So, or why we chose to watch it. But yeah, definitely give it a check out if you're into animated movies. This is going to be one of the top films of the year.
Bingo bongo. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Last topic we're going to kind of go into today is the Netflix show Kaleidoscope. Now, when you check into or click on Kaleidoscope in your Netflix app, they have a specific opening intro video that you can watch saying that you can watch any of the 8 episodes in any order, and the movie will make sense, and it'll kind of give you different perspectives. Like, was this the guy who betrayed them? Did this guy kind of wrong them? Was this the reason? Why did they do this? How did this end up happening? It jumps between, I would say, a whole 40 year span? 20 year span? 20 year span.
20 year span.
20
year span.
Yeah, about 20 years in total.
But it is kind of checkpointed with different. It lets you know right at the beginning of the episode. They don't label it as episode 1. They put colors as the coding for each episode. So it kind of lets you know right when you start each episode where they're at in the timeline. We all chose to watch it in different orders. I believe Jared watched it straight up as it was listed from top to bottom. Jalen decided to let the app speak to him, and he chose whichever episode he wanted in order to watch next, which is very clever. Keone watched it odd ones first, then evens. I watched the evens, then odds. I'll kind of throw it over to you first, Jared, because you watched it technically in the chronological list. What was your take on the show, and in your order that you watched it? Did you feel that it was kind of funky? Did it play perfectly?
I liked it. Like I think we talked about it in the last pod where we like that murder mystery kind of thing, or like this the whole backstory of having to guess what's going to happen what happens going to next, and things like that. And for me, like just watching it from beginning to end with Emily, it was like we almost sat through and watched it all in one night. Actually,
nice. Okay, it's about 45-minute episodes for those. Who are
about 45 minutes.
Pretty long.
Episodes. And I even told Keone, I was like,
Get them
oh, sorry,
scheduled.
I was trying to watch an episode of Kaleidoscope. I made it wait like 25, 30 minutes.
How dare
I was
you.
like, I just started. I was like, bro, I just started the episode. But I was like, okay, I'll jump on as soon as
He's
I
like, when it's
finish this.
Warzone time,
Sorry.
it's Warzone time.
Oh, I'm going to remember. And it's on pod. It's saved.
Okay, take it back.
You
Okay,
have been
at
caught in
50:05. Yes, we're good to go. At 50:05, this is when Keone said it. Now I'm just gonna timestamp that in my brain. I'm gonna play it back.
I
every
can already.
single time.
This is gonna be a message in the group at some point. You're gonna
Fuck,
message
Mike,
it back
you-
to me. Yeah, I know.
You did it.
When
You
it's
did it,
Warzone
Mike.
time, it's Warzone time.
Yeah.
Get your ass on.
Right.
Not just for that. For like the next month, I'm just gonna like whatever I'm doing, just like stop Warzone. Like, it's like I said it. I gotta do it now.
But yeah, I mean, this movie, it kind of kept you on its toes. I don't think I really missed much. I would have loved to kind of watch it in different orders because there were some episodes that I would say, and I can't really pinpoint them because I think I was probably, was I the first to finish it finally out
It
of
was either
something?
you or
I
possibly
think so.
Keone.
Yeah.
I was like, did I finish it first?
Yo,
But
no,
yeah,
you
so-
finished it all
in one night. Yeah,
I was like, you definitely finish it first.
Yeah. So like just watching it, there was a couple episodes that I was like, oh, maybe they could have put it here, they could have put it there, just based off of the fact of like timeline wise and what the importance of a character was to be. But I thought all the actors were amazing. Everybody who was in the movie,
Fantastic cast. Yes.
Giancarlo Esposito, you
everybody
never go wrong
should
with
get their
him. Never.
everybody should get their due. That's all.
Cannot go wrong
should
with
get their due.
Magneto. You know.
Yeah.
Professor X. Actually. He's been saying he wants to play a good guy. Hit him up.
That's true.
I think he was my fan cast.
He was.
He wasn't because you were.
No, because we said don't use Giancarlo.
Yeah.
But
He was Jalen's.
like,
Yeah,
nah,
he was
forget
Jalen's,
it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I won on a technicality on that.
Sorry, I don't
You
listen
said he
to the
couldn't
roles.
be. No, you said he couldn't be that person because
rumor.
he was already rumored as Professor X. He was not rumored, however, for Magneto. So on you, okay? I win.
Well, since Jalen has the
Suck
mic right
it.
now, why don't you let us know how you felt?
Do you remember what order you watched it in, Jay?
Yeah, no, I logged it, so I'll tell
okay.
you
I
which
remember-
order I watched it in. So I
yeah, let
went.
us know.
Wait, hold on.
I went
gotta look at
pink.
this.
Okay, you
hold
can't
up,
say
hold
the
up.
timeline. You just say the colors.
Okay.
No, I'm saying the colors.
Yeah, you're saying
That's
the
the name of the
colors is-
episode.
yeah.
You say the colors. That's
I was just.
that's
I gotta
relevant.
look at my
So-
list on the show itself.
Yeah, I gotta
Right.
look
So
at
I
this.
went pink, yellow, orange, blue, violet, green, red, and then white. So in this experience, because I just kind of let the story tell me and let the kind of vibes I was getting dictate which episode I got, I started with really where the story ends, and then I backlogged into the beginning. So the whole time I'm catching up
Oh,
on
yeah.
these stories, I am figuring out these characters, their connections, I'm growing with them, and then I save the actual heist for last. And I will say, as an experience in viewing, it definitely hit pretty hard because this whole time I've seen the very end, I've seen the very beginning, I've seen everything in the middle, and now I get to the last episode, I'm like, okay, dude, like, what the fuck is going down in this heist? Like, because there are some serious consequences as to everything that happens, and you see all the references if you save white for last and all that, like I did. But I will say this. This is the scorching hot take that I had prepared, and I'm sure me and Keone might be on the same page here. Show is advertised as this, like, you can hop into any episode and whatnot, and it'll all make sense, and everything's tied together, and, you know, you'll have a unique viewing experience. I'm calling bullshit because there is 100% a chronological story order that you can watch it in to where everything still hits you. You get to experience these amazing actors, but not have to do the journey and hoops that I went through. Now, while I enjoyed what I watched, there is a part of me that's like, I wonder how much better it would have been just going from beginning to end in a very linear narrative versus kind of hopping around. Just saying. So I get the idea of what the show was, and it sounded intriguing to me. But my gut told me when I heard about the premise of what this show was supposed to be is that that's not how this works, man. I'm sorry. Like, stories happen linearly. You can't just hop into anything because you're going to miss something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it would take one hell of a genius to make a show that literally, no matter what order you watch it in, it all narratively ties together the same way. Which you can't. I don't know. It hasn't been done yet, so I don't know if there's a way you can do it. If there is, great. That's cool. I think the premise of it being a heist is probably like the best format they could have tried it with, to be honest. I think that's a brilliant move. But overall, I think that's my hot take is that it's not as advertised. There's 100% a linear story order. You're going to have to Google it to find out because they tried to be cute and trendy with the whole watch it in any order thing.
Yeah.
If that's more your speed, obviously go for that route. But yeah, Juan Carlos Esposito, my God, man. Like, what an absolute, another magical performance. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He portrays a man with, Parkinson's in this episode, in this series, and he's also, you get to see him be powerful, you get to see him be vulnerable. Just like, the dude is just an absolute master at the craft. And I think Bob kind of took my second favorite seat.
John Courtney.
John Courtney, being a Chiefs fan in the series, it's revealed. That's a small spoiler, but it's not story impactful or anything. But I will say my top spot, even higher than Juan Carlos Esposito, was Tati Gabrielle. Like, this girl is about to be everywhere. And I mean everywhere, because she does she just can fill so many voids. She's gorgeous. She does the sly, like, sexy thing, but she can do the powerful woman thing, but then she can also do the, like, mischievous con man thing. And she showed a lot of different ranges. And she's in there with these very powerful emotional scenes across from Juan Carlos Esposito. And it is like bang, bang, boom. She is holding her own with these acting choices that she's making. So it was a very, very enjoyable experience. I enjoyed literally all the characters. I think that's the biggest thing when you're doing a heist series or TV show, movie. If one of those characters isn't likable, then it makes the entire movie hard to watch. So they found a good way to kind of make every character matter, make them all likable. Great casting for all the characters. Everything was great. Fantastic villain also. And well, villain, right? It's like, they're all criminals, but the antagonist in this series. So yeah, so that was my viewing experience in the Let the Vibe Speak order. So it was really enjoyable to save White for last, I will say.
Yeah, I did see a lot of reports following it where they
say watch White last.
Save
You
White
should
for
watch
last.
that
Watch
one
whatever
last.
order you want. And yeah, I'll kind of move it over to you, Keone. You had the odd evens. So how did you enjoy that? I think it does end up having White be your last episode, correct? Yeah.
So I had a quick question for Jay and Jared, because the big thing about this whole thing was you think somebody betrays somebody else or whatever. That who betrayed who in your version of said story?
I don't think there really was a true betrayal, to be honest. It was more of like, this is the thing that makes us survive.
Oh, there was a betrayal.
I mean, there was one significant betrayal with Juan Carlos' character, obviously. But as far as like the actual relevance to what the heist had happened, and because of who I mentioned earlier, I don't see that as a real betrayal. It's more of, that is the biggest action of love that she could have demonstrated to that character to make him understand that he's an idiot for not being around and staying in her life.
Gotcha.
At least that's how my viewing experience took it. Jared, I don't know about you.
Wait, are we talking about the heist or just in general?
I mean, if you have some other...
What's the most significant betrayal in the whole show?
That's
that
a
we
The
saw?
most significant betrayal?
From your viewing experience, what was the most significant betrayal?
I mean, it had to be basically Roger and Leo. That was the two. That was the one. But I did see Jalen's part of it with the daughter, of how it was, you should be more in her life, and then he kind of just cut himself out of it. Then he tried to make things right and especially at the end when the whole money thing happens. And dude, who would have thought that happened? That was kind of crazy to just think that you can literally put all that in boxes and ship it to yourself.
So
We should try it one day.
this is
We should try it one day.
this is the
Absolutely.
point I wanted to bring up because I
Okay.
I feel like no matter what order you watched it in, you had the same sense of betrayal, the same sense of who was right, who was wrong. For me, my viewing experience specifically was very disorienting because I jumped timelines very.
I think we
Yeah, you had
probably
the same. You
very
had to have
similar.
had the same experience to
Yeah.
me because it was literally like before the heist, after the heist, before the heist, middle of the heist, 5 minutes after the heist, before the heist, and I was just like, wait, yeah, I was like, what is going on? Like to me, it changed the experience in a absolutely negative way. Like it did not make the show make sense. And for me, when I was watching, when I started through the odd part of the show, because obviously White, which is the last episode on the chronological list, is the even, right? So it's like episode 10 or whatever. But starting with the odds part, the only thing I could think that would have changed my opinion was if the entire evens part of the storyline was from the view of the antagonist,
One view.
Rufus Sewell. Like, if his character was the even side, and then John Carlos Esposito was the odd side, it would have changed it.
Oh, that would have been cool.
To me, that would have changed. Like, even the part where it looked like in the beginning, we all know what happens, his big betrayal there. If that part right there had been seen from the other view and you were kind of like, oh, that's why. To me, that would have changed the entire viewing experience. But I felt like just watching all the way through, it didn't really seem like you would think that anybody else was in the wrong other than the person who you see is in the wrong at the end of the whole
Yeah.
thing. You don't really get a different vantage point of anything. There's no like. I just felt like I was like watching a movie in 20-minute spurts out of order. Like it just felt so. It felt so disorienting, and I could have rode with it had that been the case. Had the even side been his side, and you were like, oh, okay, now I get it. One guy, this is his view of it, then this is his view of it. But it was not that. It was just completely like a full storyline, completely out of order. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'm not going to lie. Like, the ending was great. The actors were fantastic. The people, the way that they pulled off these scenes was absolutely fantastic. But it was so disorienting to watch. I would not recommend watching it that way
In your
at
order.
all because it was horrible. I'm like, it literally spoiled things before I got there, and then it like went back, and I was just like, how am I supposed to? Because I already know that you are already, and then I was like, this guy, I already know what happens with you. Like it for me, it made it such a bad experience to watch. Like I would not recommend watching it that way. I said this to Jared initially when he first finished it, that I think you had the best experience because you literally got.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you know.
I don't know,
Actually,
Jace.
I don't know.
There was
I don't
there
know.
was
Jay's,
a way.
I look at Jay's.
There was a way. I
Jay's
think-
kind of secret.
I think
There's
they
a way they
said there was a
recommended
way
it.
that's like it's the best way to watch it. I don't know if Jay
I-
had that sequence.
I was actually going to mention that it was discombobulating for me, but I think that mine actually was the best way to watch it. If we're just going based off of, hey, I want to set an order that I'm going to watch it, because so mine was. I'll try not to spoil it because everyone who hasn't watched it yet. Mine was 7 years before, so when they're in jail, and that's where I'll leave it at that. 24 years before, kind of like the precursor, back knowledge. The morning after the heist, so when it happens, you find out some people didn't make it, but did they really not make it? You're unsure what's going on. Then my last one was the day of the heist, so I kind of got, boom, all right, you got some answers going right there.
See,
and then
I almost feel like I would have liked if that had happened in the middle of mine, it would have been different.
yeah, and then it backtracks when I go back to the odds 6 weeks before when they're starting to plan everything, 5 days before the heist when their plan is kind of cementing. Then I get the 3 weeks before the heist, and then I get the 6 months after. So literally my last episode is the ending, where they have been for 6 months. And I was like, You know what? This actually kind of makes sense for mine. And
yours
really
actually. Now I'm thinking through your episode. That would have been a very cool
so I was
way to
like,
end
that
it.
kind of it's nice because I wouldn't have been like, okay, so now I know what happened 6 months after.
Yeah.
These people are not here. Why am I even going to watch the rest of this episode?
See, yours sounded good. Mine was horrible.
But you know, the thing is, I was going to
You
say,
really took the worst order.
Do
I
not
was gonna
watch
say,
Ozzy.
this is kind of synergy because I feel like I was in very much thinking the same thought. Like, hey, if they had made something from different points of view, and I was thinking, what if they just told us straight up, hey, this episode needs to be last for you to watch, and then each episode is a character intro. And it just goes through their whole backstory, boom, up into them doing the heist. How did
And then
they
the
come
heist,
along
yeah,
to be
you're
them?
right.
And then you say, hey, you can watch all these intros, and then boom, last episode, watch that.
I think because they centralized who it was about, it changed the whole concept of it. Like it just didn't match what they were trying to do. Like I could have understood if they went with that route, because that would have been a fantastic way to do it. Like every single character gets an episode. Then it would have been like, who did what to who? Because then I'm actually attached to each of these characters. But because you're literally only centrally attached to one guy.
Now, see, in my order, you still get that kind of experience because you jump in at Pink, and it's like 6 months after this big heist. You see a guy with Parkinson's. All the main characters are still there, and the first time you see Bob, he's got the hole in his neck, thing in his hand, can't talk. You're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? How did he? You know what I mean? So you have like a lot is coming at you.
He's from Australia.
You're like, holy shit, mate! Oh my god! But then you go, and then as I what I go next? Yellow.
Also, this show is not safe for work for anyone out there who is
not at all. Not at all safe for work.
Not at all safe for work. No, the Kaleidoscope.
I was like, it done been not safe for work.
Why aren't we safe for work?
Going from Pink, and then I went straight into Yellow. So I had all this stuff of all these people, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I saw how it all started in Yellow. And then as I went, so some things kind of added up because I went from yellow to orange, so that kind of adds up a little bit. But then I backtrack a little bit with, I think, blue, violet, and green because they're all kind of dispersed in time a little bit, but they give character building, so it kind of wraps itself back around. And then when I get to red, which is like right after the heist, that episode, right before I get to the heist, I think that order would give people a very interesting experience for sure. If you're going from like all those things, because you circle around, you get fill-ins here and there, you see how Roger came in, you see how Hannah came in, you see the backstory on the cop, you see how they all come together, you see the tension of what happens immediately after, and then you're left with white, and you're just like, oh damn. That's how all that went down, and this is how everything happened after. So I would say, give it a rewatch in that order and see if it doesn't do something for you.
I'm so happy.
I'm sorry, this show has no rewatchability.
It's just like for the three of you, I'm just like, I'm so happy you guys really enjoyed your experience. Yeah, because really, like, but I don't even want to rewatch it because
that is like two sides of the coin. Because like Jalen started it from where the 6 months after is, mine ends with the 6 months after. So it's like
that's a great point.
There was a point because I didn't look up what the colors.
Don't watch it.
I didn't look up the colors in like what actual time span it was when we just watched through. So like after the episode after the heist happens, I'm thinking like, wait, are they gonna do a future episode where it's like, or is this all just the rest of this chronological buildup? Turns out my last episode was the last timeline chronology. So I was like, okay.
I'm just finding it hard to figure out how they think that people would have saw it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, really, like, we all watch it differently.
Well, maybe that's why you have to rewatch it.
That's why it should be each episode a character from their point of view where they see different shit.
Well, I don't know. I like the Keone's one where he said if the evens were one person from what's his name, Leo's
character,
and the other one was from Roger Salas.
The way I saw that was
I
like,
think you can portray,
because if you're gonna centralize it on Giancarlo Esposito's character, they should have centralized the other half of it on his character, because then it would have made more sense. But I felt like because they centralized it on one dude, then it made the whole thing seem like
the thing with that is
the good
like
and who's the bad in this.
You kind of see certain things for Roger's character in some aspects of his point of view, but they never played it into the show where it was like, this is why he didn't break down the door during the fire. This is why he changed his name. They never kind of got into that. So like, for that to be the episode, they would have had to rewrite a lot more differently so that it makes you pick a side. Like, who is really hurting here? Who's at fault? Who's the one that's really getting screwed over? Because the way it was centered around Giancarlo Esposito, you only see that group's kind of perspectives rather than, oh yeah, this is the company that's about to get robbed. Like, are they at fault? Have they done actually anything wrong? What's going on here? They don't give you their side of it, so it's like you can't really.
Let me shoot you.
I felt like
shoot you this scenario for. What is his character's name? What is the technically he's the antagonist in this show?
Roger
Graham or
Salas?
Roger. So, if Roger's character had attempted in the initial scene that we're talking about, the betrayal scene, had attempted something. Maybe door jam. I don't know. He goes to look for something. By that time, he gets arrested or something. You know what I'm saying? He gets taken out of the building in that.
So
sense.
yeah, if that's what happened, if that they had that in the show, that is a completely different kind of.
Yeah, and then like even,
now you're looking
the,
at
even
like,
the name,
yo.
even the name change. Like maybe it's tied to the fact that his buddy is so tied into the. So obsessed.
Damn,
because
Giancarlo, you a dick.
I don't know how wow, did I say y'all? I don't know how you guys I don't know how you guys all felt about Giancarlo, but there was a thing that Bianca said that I was just like, damn, you're right. Is like he felt obsessive in my storyline. Like it felt like he was very like no matter what, I'm gonna do this thing. And so I said like it could have played in.
Never about the money. It was always about revenge.
It could have played into like how they make
I
the
agree.
other guy good.
No, that would have been a good kind of rewrite if they had to do that. So
Interesting.
Kaleidoscope 2. Make sure you.
That's interesting. You
something.
say
Let's
he
fix
seemed obsessive, and because like
Yeah.
in mine, because I open on Pink, like I see Roger, and it's not like a I don't know. It's for some reason, I guess the order I watched it in, it gives you a view of him as just a very plain mustache villain. But at the end of the day, you're not questioning like which side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's very much like, okay, it's about Juan Carlo getting vengeance for that stuff because they have that amazing dialogue scene in the prison in that episode too, where he like slides in the Slim Jim and all that. So you like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny now hearing. It's
Interesting.
funny hearing everybody's point of view because it's like, how do you view the character? I don't know that. Yeah, maybe they did kind of do it in a sense because
I mean, they at a bare minimum, what this show did was at least give people a interesting way to talk about a TV show.
Yeah,
that is for
it's
sure.
a fantastic
But,
idea.
like,
I think
It definitely has an effect.
Yeah,
I think that it was.
this
I
needs
mean,
to be tried again. I think
there's
I agree.
another topic
I
that I'm
agree.
going to save for our next week's post credit, but I definitely love the swing for the fences that Netflix took with this series.
Yes,
I think that is definitely something for kudos, you know. But yeah, for those of you who have not seen the show,
like for our own reference, it's like this was also rated lower than Miss Marvel. Just
don't listen to that.
this is actually rated lower than She-Hulk. So just on
damn.
Rotten
Okay,
Tomatoes. So I'm
anyways.
just saying that's
great acting. I think the timeline of it kind of gets convoluted. Great acting though. The storyline would have been great if it was just timed chronologically, but
or are we so used to a linear story that we couldn't wrap our brains around a distangled timeline?
mine was.
say that again, bro.
Yours were kind of disoriented. Mine was like beginning, before, after. Before. I'm like, okay, come on.
Before,
Can we
during,
have-
3 minutes after the during. Before.
I'm like, can we at least get somewhat of a semblance of time in this show? Like,
Kenny's like,
Fair enough.
I don't know
Absolutely
what's
not.
going on.
I had a horrible time.
Make
I'm
it
happy
stop,
you guys had a better
please.
time than I did because it was horrible.
But yeah,
no.
other than that, once again, I watched it in evens to odds. Keone watched it odds to evens. Jared watched it straight up as it was listed. And Jalen kind of just went free choice. What spoke to him, he clicked on that episode. I would say despite what we have noted
If
as
you
some
Google it, there
downfalls
is
to the
literally a
episode,
list of best way to
there is a
watch it, yeah.
specific way you can watch it. You can definitely go by that way so you don't feel as annoyed. But give it a shot. It doesn't hurt in the world of streaming where sometimes you're sitting down not knowing what to watch while you're eating dinner. It doesn't hurt to give it an episode to watch and see how you like it. So that's kind of where I'll leave it at that. But yeah, that'll do it for us today on our post-credits segment. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Keone, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Kone. That's KAYOHKNEE.
Jalen?
You can find me on Instagram at Art by Jalen. You can find me on Twitter at Jalen Holston. You can find me on Twitch streaming some Monster Hunter Division or Destiny 2, perhaps, at Mokathanos_LGG. If you would like the best chronological order to watch the Star Wars series, I have it for you. Don't worry, all right? Here we go. You start off with the classics, right? You go Rogue One, right into Episode 4, 5, take a pause, 2, 3, Episode 6, punt Episode 1 because it's fucking awful minus Darth Maul, and then you and then you go right back into 7, 8, 9. I'm telling you, it's a wonderful viewing experience if you've never done it. Take a weekend, give it a go. Let me know how it goes on one of those social medias.
Beautiful.
I need to do that now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jared?
Wait, Rogue One, 4, 5,
2, 3.
2, 3,
Punt 1.
6.
6.
Oh wait, punt 1 first. Punt 1
Punt the
first.
Phantom
7, 8,
Menace.
9.
Then 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can watch 1. You just watch the Darth Maul scene, and then you can be done with it.
Yeah, Google the Darth Maul scene. That's it.
Just YouTube it or something.
Exactly.
Anyways, Jared, let them know where they can find you.
I am on Instagram and Twitch at jshirai, JSHIRAI, and on Twitter at jshirai808.
And you guys can find me at Nolan KYT, NOLAN KYT, on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. We are still in the midst of our $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. So make sure you guys are participating in that. Go to our socials at The Point Soy Podcast on Instagram to find out the rules, how you guys can get involved in it. And first one to give us all the right answers in our DM, in that Instagram account's DM, will be the winner that we'll announce on our first post-credit segment of February. So please hop on in. Doesn't hurt you to do it. You guys can only profit from it if you do it correctly. But other than that, thank you guys for joining us and making us a part of your day. We enjoyed having you be a part of ours. From all of us here at Boy and Soy Podcast, good vibes and love.
Bang, bang.
Shoots.
Just saying, James Cameron is an asshole.